Welcome to day one of the 21-day challenge of movement. Today, we are going to be talking about feet and the relationship between the feet and the ground and the pelvic floor and the core, and how it can affect your everyday movement and posture and moving confidently without pain. So first, let's start. I want you to just take a few minutes shifting your weight from side to side and feel the sensation in your body as you lift one foot. Do you notice that your ankle is pronating in one foot? Do you notice one foot might be more stable than the other? And pay attention to what is happening also in your core. Now, the way we walk is called our gait. And our gait is directly affecting our pelvic floor, because when you have an unstable connection on the floor and you are not rooted and grounded into the ground, maybe you have a high arch in your foot, maybe you have a pronated ankle in that can sometimes come from that high arch, or maybe you just have an imbalance of the weight that you put in one foot versus another. These things can affect the balance that you have and the stability that you have in your body, which then can cause a tighter pelvic floor and can cause pelvic floor dysfunction, or it can cause dysfunction in your core. So we're going to start today by really acknowledging that the goal of movement to feel stable and to feel connected with our core and to feel confident moving forward without pain, so that you are protecting all of those different muscles. You hear people talking about things like throwing their back out or maybe rolling their ankles, all of these things. We can start to play around with the movement and strengthen our bodies to prepare for different types of movement in our life. So let's start with getting really nice and grounded and rooted in the ground. I want you to take a step forward and then take another step forward. And I want you to feel the placement of your feet on the ground. Do you feel like there is one particular part of your foot that is connecting with the ground more than the other? Do you feel like you are going to tip over, or you're feeling imbalanced? If you're experiencing any of these things, I want you to first start with gripping the ground, spreading your toes, and it's almost like you're taking the arch of your foot and spreading it and grabbing the ground. So we're feeling nice and rooted in the ground. Step forward, step to the side, play around with this movement, and feel what that movement is doing to your pelvic floor. And as you do this, any imbalances that you feel, I want you to now take a deep breath in, fill your lungs, allow your ribs to expand 360 degrees around to accommodate those very full lungs. And you're going to have that relaxation of the diaphragm and that relaxation of the pelvic floor. On the exhale, you're going to feel as though the muscles are pulling in toward your midline. You're going to feel your pubis bone pull toward your tailbone. And it's almost like you are cinching the drawstring of your pants. Everything gets cinched in. And now I want you to take that breath, inhale, exhale, step forward. Do you feel a difference as you are playing around with this breath of what happens when you take a step? Exhale, root your foot into the ground. Good. Exhale. And feel the support that you are gaining with that breath, and how that can actually play a role in what is known as proprioception. Proprioception is the spatial awareness that you have internally in your body. So when you have your eyes closed and you step to the right and you can find that balance even with your eyes closed, That's proprioception. We are trying to get a sense of that spatial awareness in our body, and we're trying to feel rooted and grounded in the floor so that you can kind of play around and understand that relationship between the pelvic floor and your feet. So now I want you to stand about hip width apart, and I want you to grab the ground with your feet, feel nice and rooted, and now bend your legs. Slowly bending. We're not bouncing. I want you to feel this is controlled. I want you to feel activation in your glutes, in your quads. Good. And as you stand up, do you feel rooted into the ground? Now we're going to take a stool or a chair, whatever you have nearby, and we're going to sit. So as you sit, even in the seated position, you are still acknowledging that there is that relationship between your pelvic floor and the feet. So you can feel nice and rooted in the ground. So if you were to push yourself up off of the stool or chair that you're sitting in, you feel how that the breath as you're exhaling and that pelvic floor lifts and the diaphragm lifts, the breath supports that pelvic floor. And you'll feel those sit bones moving away from each other on the inhale, coming closer together on the exhale. I want you to cross your foot over your leg, and you're going to shake hands with your foot. And I want you to just nice circle your ankle. And the other way. Good. And now cross the other leg. Circle this ankle. Good. And the other way. And now opening up your toes, spreading them apart, gripping the floor, and relax the feet. One more time. Inhale. Exhale, open those toes up, grab that floor, and relax. And as a last little piece of this movement sequence, we're going to place our chairs to the side. You are going to now lay down. And as you lay down, I want you to think about the placement of your feet on the floor. So you're going to inhale, exhale, plant that right foot rooted into the ground, almost grabbing the floor. Lift the toes slightly, and now lift that left foot and feel the connection, still drawing the pubis bone toward your tailbone and drawing your hips in toward each other. So it's almost like a drawstring pulling nice and taut. Inhale, exhale, lift that foot and place it down. Now try it with the other one. See if there's any imbalances. Exhale. Still pulling your belly button in toward your spine, going even deeper than that, feeling the pubis bone draw in toward your tailbone. Exhale, lift that foot. And exhale. And now we're going to go into the plank position as the last kind of experiment that I want you to play around with. And as you're getting into this plank, I want you to feel two different sensations. You're going to get into the plank, and I just want you to place gentle pressure into your toes. Drop your butt down. Now I want you to not have any energy out your heels so you can feel what that feels like. Now change it up. Energy out the heels, push, and notice how much more you can straighten that plank out. And then come up into the downward dog position. Get those heels on the ground and pedal the feet. Still rooting into the ground. Still acknowledging that relationship between the pelvic floor and your feet. Drop down onto your knees. Very good. Now, this was just a very, very brief warm-up. We're only on day one. We don't want to burn ourselves out. We want to stay consistent. Every day, we are going to be understanding more about the relationships between the various parts of our bodies. We are going to be playing around with them, and I hope that you continue to do every day of the challenge, because the more consistent you are, the more it will get into our muscle memory. If you guys want to keep up that consistency, please go to our website. We are having a sale until September 2nd, so you can join us with even longer workouts and get that consistency into your body. Sales on monthly and annual subscriptions only until September 2nd. Thanks for joining us.